Today I am going to show you how to do a Picot bind off. This is particularly used in my striation shawl pattern, but it can be used in any number of patterns to give you a nice decorative edge. For the purpose of this tutorial, I just cast on 10 stitches and knit a couple of rows just so that I had a base to do the Picot bind off on. You'll be doing your Picot bind off at the very end of your shawl, and so you'll have quite a number of stitches on your needle. So the first thing we are going to do is, using the cable cast on method, we're going to cast on 2 stitches. The cable cast on method is you stick your needle in between stitch 1 and stitch 2, grab your yarn, pull it through, and then place it up on the needle. That's 1 stitch cast on. Now I'll stick my needle through that stitch I just cast on, and what was the first stitch on the needle. I'll stick my needle in between, grab my yarn, pull it through, place it up on the needle. So now I have cast on 2 stitches. Our next step is to bind off stitches. So now we are going to bind off 4 stitches using just the normal bind off technique. I knit a couple of stitches and then lift the first stitch over. That's 1 stitch bound off. Do that again. That's 2 stitches bound off. Do that again. That's 3 stitches bound off. And 1 more time. Try not to split the yarn there. That's 4 stitches bound off. Now I'm going to move the stitch that is over here on my right needle back to my left needle. That gives us our very first Picot for our edging. Now we're just going to repeat the same process again using the cable cast on method. I'm going to cast on 2 stitches. And then I'm going to bind off 4 stitches. I knit 2 stitches to start. I bind off 1. I bind off 2. I bind off 3. I bind off 4. I move that stitch back to the left needle. So now you can see we have 2 picots. Let's do that one more time. I'm going to cast on 2 stitches using the cable cast on method. I'm going to then bind off 4 stitches. So I'm going to start by knitting 2 and bind that off. That's 1 stitch. That's 2 stitches. That's 3 stitches. That's 4 stitches. I move that back over, and now I have made another Picot. You're going to repeat that process until you have 1 stitch left on your left needle. And when that happens, you're going to cut your yarn, you're going to pull it through like you would normally end a project, and you'll be done. And that is how you do a Picot bind off. Now this can be modified to give different sizes to the Picot, and what you can change is you can change the number of stitches you cast on, and you can change the number of stitches you bind off, and that will either make the Picot longer or it will make more space in between the Picots. That's how you do a Picot bind off. Thanks for watching. To see more tutorials, go to javapurldesigns.com and click tutorials in the header bar. Thanks for watching.